Villa fans, welcome to 21st century Aston Villa. We're going to the top. This is absolutely phenomenal. Up the Villa.
Creating a high-performance culture needs the right facilities. The mission of the Aston Villa board since the summer of 2018 has been to bring our performance, strength, conditioning, rehabilitation and sports therapy functions up to 21st century standards. We have created a new high-performance centre, an environment suited to 21st century elite sports. The High-Performance Centre will be used not only by our men's first team, but our women's team, together with our boys and girls academy, all of whom are based here at Bodymore. This training complex is now one of the finest in UK sport.
Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. So if you're new, please subscribe. And thanks to all the subscribers and views that we had over the weekend. It was a real good video, and thanks everybody for watching. So obviously the intro was that massive new 21st century complex we've built. Just amazing, it's put us on a massive high pedestal now, whether it's like attracting players or just bringing us onto a different level. So just buzzing for the club really, and shows the direction that we're going in. So we've got Justin and Ryan, special guests. We've got Dan Morgan from Heart of the Holte. For me, everyone knows this is one of my favourite Villa podcasts. I think their knowledge on the game is, second to none. And they're an amazing channel and definitely my go-to channel. So how are you, mate?
Oh, I appreciate the kind words as always, Luke. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, lads. It's good to have you guys on, because last time it was just me and Luke. So it's good that we're expanding the group, getting to know you guys a bit more. Justin and Ryan, seen you guys on Twitter a fair bit, and obviously big fan of the podcast. So thanks for having me on, fellas.
So Dan, great result the weekend. What did you make of it?
It was, to reference the Villa filler already. I think what I said in the podcast was that we just basically continued everything we did against West Brom. And I feel like Villa fans were fairly split on how the West Brom game went. And I feel like that's largely just based on the fact we went 2-1 down, ended up drawing the game. Realistically, you have to beat West Brom. It's a local rivalry with how they are performing as well down at the bottom of the table. On paper, it's a must-win game, but Villa actually performed really well in that game. And a lot of things in transition that Villa applied in that game and looked very good, especially in the first half against West Brom. We saw throughout against Everton, and Villa looked so much of a better team for having Ross Barkley back at his best.
It was brilliant. And look, we've got a few questions from the viewers and listeners on Barkley a little bit later on. But yeah, we've got United coming up. I would love us to beat United. I think every Villa fan would love us to beat Man United. We've just not done it for such a long time now. There's a lot of discontent off the field regarding Man United. We saw the scenes at Old Trafford with all the fans going on, and that sort of stuff's been going on a long time. Even when Fergie was there and they were winning trophies, so it's not like a new thing for them. But I think obviously the Super League has took it on to another level. So just touching on United off the field, Justin, what did you make of the scenes at the weekend?
I don't think it's surprising, is it? I think we've seen similar scenes, Arsenal and Chelsea as well, fans not happy. And I think it just shows the depth of hatred for the Super League idea, really, doesn't it? United fans are much maligned for being from all over the country other than Manchester, but fair play to them. They've come out in the numbers and they've shown that fans do have a say, and fans are very important, the lifeblood of every single club, aren't they? And to do that, it has kept the conversation going, hasn't it? Which I think it needs to do. This is the kind of thing that can't disappear just because it's just been a few weeks ago. I think that the FA and the Premier League are looking at changes to the way they do things. I think they're on about getting all the owners to sign up to some kind of mandate where they can't, clubs can't just walk away from it. And I think it's right. It's very important to keep the structure of English football very rigid. As one of the founding members, we hold our place very dearly, don't we, in English football? And I think for any club, regardless of how big they think they are, to think they can just walk away and do what they did, it's disgusting. So I think this movement needs to carry on. I know that it's slightly different at United and Arsenal because they're actually using it now as a stick to beat the owners with that they don't like and they want out. But overall, I think it's a conversation that needs to go away. I don't think it's going to go away. I think that there is still appetite for a Super League or something restructure-wise, in Europe. So I think it's something we need to be very careful about and something that we have to carry on trying to sort out and make sure it doesn't, happen again.
And I think this just shows, for me, how good I feel about our owners at the minute. Just the stuff they're doing on and off and around the club, it's just phenomenal, really. So touching on United on the pitch, Ryan, what have you made of them this season?
Yeah, they've progressed quite well, haven't they? Fernandes having a good season. Pogba's sort of got it together as well, hasn't he? Luke Shaw, he's been absolutely tremendous. But to quote Kevin Keegan, I would love it if we beat them. It's an understatement to say they're our bogey team. They've beat us more than they've beat anybody else in their Premier League history. And I can't believe I've reached the age of 38 and I've not seen us beat United live in the league. I've had a season ticket. I've been a season ticket holder since 1993. The first game I went to, Lee Sharp scored a double, beat us 2-1. And then the time we did actually beat them, I was on holiday in America. And back then, you couldn't get a newspaper for like 5 days. You had no phones or nothing. And I was probably only about 12 years old. And I remember phoning my nan. Mum, Dad, phone nan. Get the score. Oh, yeah, you won 3-1. I said, who scored? Oh, I don't know. And then I was all buzzing, totally buzzing. And I was thinking, in the back of my head, I was thinking, are they stitching me up? And then I think a couple of days later, we played Tottenham. I said, phone Nan again. Beat Tottenham 1-0. I thought they're definitely stitching me up. And then about a week later, I found the newspaper, seen it, 3-1 Villa. Absolutely buzzing. And but there's something seriously wrong. I'm thinking, why am I walking around the Magic Kingdom looking for Mickey and Minnie Mouse and the Villa are absolutely battering United? So since that day, I've never seen them win. We come close a few times. We've gone 2-0 up against them and they've come back and they are a massive bogey team. But I don't know. I've got a bit of faith that Sunday's going to be the day.
Is there any chance you can get a quick flight over to Florida, Ryan?
I might have to, yeah. Get my COVID passport and get over there. Switch my phone off.
Like you're saying, it's just one of them teams where, we've gone 2-0 up before and then we've lost 3-2. We just have a shocker, but hopefully this season, you know what this season's like, hopefully we can sort of just turn up at Villa Park and just do them over. Just a nice little win. It'd just be so nice. Dan, talk to us then. Can we beat United?
I think there are certainly weaknesses in this Manchester United team, and it's a difficult one really because, as Ryan's touched on, if he's never seen Villa beat Manchester United in the flesh, at least in his lifetime. I'm only 21. I've never, it's a very rare occasion. And as well, where we live, in the Midlands, there's so many Manchester United fans. Everybody knows probably about as many United fans as they do Villa fans, which is very annoying. So it's always something that kind of plays in the back of your mind. You want to beat them guys. You want to have one over the plastic fans that live around here in the West Mids in Birmingham. But there are certainly weaknesses to this Manchester United team. And I think, the first of which is probably actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because Manchester United, despite contrary to popular belief, don't actually really need a master tactician, I believe, with the players that they have. And I think that's why Ollie is getting the best out of the players. What they needed was a man manager, especially after Jose Mourinho. You can't deny, that how many times has Ollie gone to the Etihad and beat City? It's remarkable what he has done with them players. However, I do think you can outwit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's going to be very difficult. I think, a lot of Villa's play, I think on average, around 50% of Villa's attacks do tend to come down our left-hand side. You've got to target that right-back spot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because he is suspect, to say the least, I would say. There are certain attributes to his game that he's very good at. He's one-on-one defending is very good, so you're going to have to create plenty of overloads there. Going forward isn't the best, so maybe you want to try and kind of invite that pressure down the left-hand side and look to exploit it. The midfield's fairly solid with McFred, as they call them, at the base of that midfield in a double pivot. I feel like they need to do that, though, because neither one of their midfielders are good enough to play as a sole number 6, which I think Villa probably should look to do in this game. You're going to have to try and really overrun that midfield because, there's a weak link there. They kind of cover each other's flaws very well, both McTominay and Fred, but it's going to be very difficult, I think. It's just one of them ones, isn't it? We played really well against them at Villa Park last season during Project Restart, and if it wasn't for an awful penalty decision that goes against our way and completely sucker punches us, that completely changed the game on its head. So it's going to be very tough. However, I think Villa can maybe get at least a goal in this game. I mean, surely you got to dare to dream, haven't you?
El Ghazi is back on form, so I'm going for an El Ghazi goal, definitely in this game. So we'll go to the questions from the viewers and listeners now. We've got quite a few thoughts, so we'll try and get through as many as we can. But Andy Villa has put, what is the logic behind our marking at corners? Barkley marking Calvert-Lewin, which leads to a goal next time McGinn is marking Calvert-Lewin. I just don't get it. But there must be a reason why Mings and Konsa are not marking obvious danger men. I'll give that to you, Dan.
I think it's a difficult one. There's actually a very good reply to that tweet, which referenced the smaller players being used to kind of stop the runners, which is also kind of contradictory to kind of what you do, because the danger men are generally the centre backs who are running in. They're not the men that you often find Mings and Konsa marking in the box. And I mean, we had an absolute howler the other week, didn't we, with Emi, coming out trying to punch the ball that Mings completely missed. And it's a difficult one. Zonal's a very trendy thing. Everybody does it. Apart from your Allardyces, them kind of teams, they go man marking. But I feel like it's something we mention it every week, don't we? And it's almost redundant because nothing's going to change. Zonal marking isn't going anywhere. All you kind of have to hope for is that maybe players are a bit smarter at kind of looking at whether the attacking players are going to be running. And I mean, common sense has to come into play, surely, when you've got, John McGinn marking the likes of Harry Maguire. What's going to happen against the weekend? He's going to score. That's going to happen. So sometimes I feel like the players need to take a bit of responsibility, whether that be an Ollie Watkins or an Amar El Ghazi, just one with a bit more height, just kind of goes, do you know what, I'll take the big man, and just kind of have that organisation on the pitch. But I mean, again, it's one of them things I don't really see. It's not that I don't see a point in criticising it, because I think, it's certainly a weakness in our game, defending set pieces. It's kind of creeped back in as kind of a way where teams are looking at getting their goals against Villa. But it's a bit of a difficult one to comment on, especially as, when we played football, zonal marking never existed. So I couldn't tell you the dynamics of zonal marking as a player necessarily. All I know is it's like watching a car crash in slow motion when Villa defend set pieces at times.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of has gone away and decreased back, didn't it? Because I remember at the start of the season, I think was it against Southampton, and we were just woeful at defending corners that game. And I was starting to think, God, if we keep doing this all season, we're going to have an absolute shocker. But it seemed to just like dwindle away. But I think it's just one of them, isn't it? It's just down to the responsibility of the player to try and to pick up the man. So Plaza Time is back. Gary Plaza, new question. It's a bit of a good one. So all I want you three to do is just name the three players. So basically, he was going to ask a question about Barkley, but this is his new one. So who's your top three foreign players to play for Villa in the Premier League since 1992? Ryan?
Yeah, I didn't see that question today on Twitter. Let's go Bosnich, York, and Malberg.
That's decent. Justin?
I'll go Larson. I'll do differently to Ryan. I'll go Larson, John Carew. And I think you've got to stick Dwight York in there, I think, because he's just absolutely amazing.
Quality. Dan?
I'm handicapped because I can't pick anyone who I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got to be Big Christian Benteke, CV20, Juan Pablo Angel, my first love I had for an Aston Villa player. What a guy! What a player! Didn't score as many goals as he probably should have, but I mean, phenomenal. Early memories watching him is amazing. And I'm going to go with Boomer. I just think, the fullback role in that Martin O'Neill team was very important. And often I think probably if he was playing now, he'd be, one of the best fullbacks in the league, I'd say. I feel like he was maybe somewhat ahead of his time in terms of the position he played and the role he had in the team.
I nearly said Freddie Boomer, would you believe?
Really? Oh, we didn't plan this, guys.
No, I did. Honestly, I was really close. I should have said Luke Nilis. I like Luke Nilis as well.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go Benteke for me. Oh, quality Benteke was. So we've got another one. Ian James has put, we need an army of police to stop the Manx attacking Villa Park. Water cannon and white police just standing by to crack skulls if they're trying anything. Connecticut has put, will it even go ahead or will United fans break onto the pitch again? But to be fair with that point, they're probably closer. We're closer to London, aren't we? So it's probably more local for them to get to Birmingham than it is Manchester anyway. So I wouldn't put it past some of them. George Fowler, avfc, has put, would you accept losing all the remaining games if it meant we could finally end the biggest hoodoo in English football against United? Justin?
No, I wouldn't. No, I'd like to beat Man United, but I think coming towards the end of the season, I think all we want to do is see 5 more performances like we saw against Everton. I said that to someone today. If we put 5 more of them performances in, I think it puts this bad spell, out the way then, and we can really concentrate on next season. So I just want to see 5 really good, solid performances. I want to see Jack back before the end of the season. I want to see us compete against. We've got 5 really tricky games, haven't we, coming up to finish the season. We're going to be in and amongst 8th, 9th, 10th, aren't we? I don't think there's much danger of us dropping much lower or probably getting much higher now. So I just want to enjoy the last 5 games. I want us to really have a go at United. I really want us to really put it on them on Sunday, regardless of how good they are and how good they've been. I just want us to go for them. I really do. I think we should just all-out attack and carry on where we left off against Everton. They are going to be a threat, but, we've got to, we're a good enough side to give them a game, aren't we? And let's hope we get another Liverpool performance.
Everyone knows who watches this channel knows that we're greedy and we want to win every game, don't we? So we'll have all 5. Come on.
Why not? I mean, I think our channels need it as well. We need the wins, don't we, realistically, to get people watching. So, as many wins as possible, that'll do.
We need it booming again. So we've got another question that was written through on the website. When will the football world be told whether Aston Villa wish to retain or dispose of Jack Grealish? I mean, you saw the intro of what the club are doing. He signed the new deal last summer. He had the chat with the owners last summer. They obviously showed him the vision that this football club was going in. So for me, he's going absolutely nowhere. And he's just going to help build this football club back to where we belong. What are your thoughts on that, Dan? A bit on Grealish, really.
I just can't envisage Aston Villa without Jack Grealish now. The two are, they're just synonymous. You can't picture one without the other. Despite, the mainstream media constantly trying their very best to sell Jack Grealish, he isn't going anywhere. I think realistically, if you're any other club, I mean, you only have to look at Everton. Everton were mounting a relatively decent challenge in the Premier League. They were making constant improvements. Was that enough to keep Ross Barkley from going to Chelsea? No. But Everton aren't Aston Villa and Ross Barkley isn't Jack Grealish. There is no doubt in my mind that Jack Grealish is, within the top 5 players of the world. And I hope that no other fans of any of the teams watch this, because I will get destroyed for this. But he's up there in terms of ball carries, dribbles, penetrations into the opposition box, goals, assists, big chances created. He's up there with the likes of Lionel Messi, Kevin De Bruyne, these kind of players. We have to be serious. He is genuinely a world-class talent. And, seeing, as you kind of put at the front of the podcast, Luke, with the improvements to the training ground, it's going to be another big summer. And I know we say that every year, but Villa are going to have to spend big, keep Jack happy, keep improving in the squad. It sounds like the owners are happy with the progress that we've made under Dean Smith. So hopefully some more funds will be released, so as we can attract them better players. Because at the moment, I think if these past 12 games without Jack have proved anything, lads, is that we still are a bit of a one-man team, and that does have to change. We've won 3 without him, but that's 3 in 12. That's not, that's relegation form realistically, isn't it? Sorry to put a downer on it, lads, but I think as I say, big summer coming up ahead. You've got to be signing players that are better in every single position than we already have. There's no time for sentimentality. I'm sure we'll probably come back on the podcast again and talk transfers with you guys. But there's been a lot of discourse on Tammy, Axel, players like that. Villa have to be targeting good players if they want to improve. Look at West Ham. They haven't necessarily spent a very large amount of money, but they've made improvements in key areas and they've been able to mount that challenge. And, I'm really rooting for them to try and finish in European football spots. But on Jack Grealish, he ain't going anywhere, lads, is he? Come on, let's be real.
I think just quickly on the Jack Grealish thing, I think take aside, which you can't really do, his love of Villa and the way he's linked to our club. The owners would be, and I think they know this, they would be mental to even consider selling Jack Grealish, which is why they have spent the last 2 summers convincing him and solely him to stay at the club. Because without Jack Grealish, there is no project going forward. Without Jack Grealish, everything collapses. That might sound really over the top to say it, but he is the most pivotal part of the whole club at the moment, because the longer he stays, the quicker we build, the bigger we become. And they will know that. They are both very, they're sportsmen, aren't they? They've come from sporting backgrounds and they understand what Jack Grealish means to this club. Regardless of his love for Villa, as just a pure footballer, they cannot afford to sell Jack Grealish, and they know that. So they will offer him whatever it takes to stay at this club. And he, in my opinion, will never leave Villa. That's how I think. I mean that. Right. I honestly, I know that's a really big thing to say, because he's been, like you say, with everybody else tries to sell him every summer. Unless we absolutely implode at any point, which is always a possibility, Jack Grealish stays at the club.
But you know what, Justin? There's so many parallels between Villa and Wes Edens' Milwaukee Bucks. You just got to look at Giannis. Getting him on a Supermax contract. 3-4 years ago, the Bucks were dead end. They were nowhere near the playoffs. Yep. Give him a big contract. They keep their star man. They've had very good playoff pushes. He's done so much in terms of rejuvenating the area in Milwaukee where the Bucks are. You're seeing so many parallels between Villa and Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's really important that we've got an owner that, if you think money's big in football, it's nothing compared to what they spend in American, on the wages in America. So they will know what it takes to keep players happy. And if it's money, then they will give Jack whatever he wants to stay at the club, because he's that important.
I think sooner or later, people are going to start taking notice of our owners, because they've sort of gone under the radar in the media, haven't they? But there's so much going on. And Sky Sports and Roy Keane and everything, oh yeah, throw 100 million at Villa and grab Jack Grealish. But Man United are 500 million in debt, and our owners have got 5 billion more than the Glazers. So I don't think that's going to happen.
I think when this Super League came out as well, I think, was it the chief exec of Leeds or something? He came out and he mentioned the direction that Aston Villa were going in, and I thought that was... You don't really read stuff like that from, another CEO.
They're scared,
club.
Luke.
Yeah.
They are scared. That is, for me, there's 2 reasons why they did the Super League. One, they're all in financial ruin. So the fact that anybody can think any of them clubs are just going to go out and rock 100, 200 million pound on players is laughable. And 2, they're living in cow cuckoo land. That they are running scared of us, of Leeds' resurgence, of West Ham's amazing season. Everton are coming for him now. They've got a massive stadium coming. The top six in this country are more scared of the clubs that are coming after them now than they've been for a decade. And that's what ultimately pushed them to a closed Super League.
Well, when I was listening to the United Liverpool talk, when that game was postponed, Neville was saying, that when the Glazers took over, United were winning Premier Leagues. They've got the best stadium in England. They've got the best training ground. And he was basically saying, like, the whole league's catching up with them now.
Yep.
And I think that's true. Clubs like Villa, we're only going in one way, and that's up, and we're only getting better and better. So we've got we'll touch on Barkley now then, because obviously he's had 2 decent games. Andy's put, is it too soon or is Ross Barkley back? We've had another one from James. He's put, what do you lads think of the price to keep Ross? Noel's put, Barkley engaged more in the Everton game and showed the promise he started since his loan move. Will he start? So, Dan, have you changed your mind on Barkley at the minute?
I think you guys know where I'm at with Ross, and I've been probably one of the few that has defended the indefendable at times. There is a player in Ross Barkley. If there's one thing that you absolutely can criticise, it's his attitude. It's stinking. However, I think things like that could be fixed. Listen, Ross Barkley, he creates an average of 4.06 shot creating actions per 90 minutes of football. 83.5% pass completion rate. He's attempting an average of 45 passes a game. He's 3.97 progressive ball carries. That's what Villa need. Villa need that because Jack Grealish can't solely be the only attacking outlet for Aston Villa. I mean, we saw it at that West Ham game at Villa Park. It was grim watching Jack on the left for 80 minutes. And then as soon as he went to the right, assist Solly Watkins straight away. First pass. So Villa have become a bit too predictable. And again, to kind of bring it back to the West Brom and Everton games, Villa looked so much better attacking and in transition when Ross Barkley's back at his best. People will ignore that because it doesn't fit the agenda. But Ross Barkley was very good in both of them games. And listen, the fact we paid £15 million in loan fees and wages so far this season doesn't really strike me to think there's going to be a deal that's struck here, especially when you hark back to that £40 million valuation from earlier on in the season. The funny thing is, though, you'd have paid that in December. You'd have paid that after he ran riot at the Emirates. You'd have paid that after he scored against Southampton away to take the 3 points there. I think there's better value elsewhere. And, without trying to go to Football Manager and try and break it down in terms of how much I'd pay, I mean, any more than the 15 million that we're already paying, and you're not getting any value out of this deal, I don't see. The thing for Ross is now, I think he's realised, especially as Dean Smith said it himself, there isn't a future at Aston Villa for Ross Barkley. He's playing for his own future now, and I think he's finally had that awakening. Too little, too late for a move to Villa, absolutely. But there's a player there, man. I think people forget. I was reading an article in The Athletic the other day, actually. Ross Barkley said in an interview when he signed for Chelsea, he sees himself being one of the best midfielders in world football, and he was hoping that this move to Chelsea was really going to launch his career. Sadly, it hasn't ended that way, but I mean, I think people do forget just how good Ross Barkley was. He's an absolute maverick at Everton. And it's just a shame we haven't really seen that at Villa, lads, isn't it?
Definitely. It was just good to see him the last 2 games, like, getting better. You could see it, couldn't you? After the West Brom game, you were starting to think, he had a good game there. He was better. And I don't know whether it was because maybe he went back to Goodison or he had that spurred, that was adding motivation. But I think if he can finish this season off well, he'll do his chances, whether it's at Villa or elsewhere, they're no end of good. So we'll have some score predictions then for United. I'm going to go 3-2 Aston Villa. Ryan?
Let's go Ross Barkley 1-0. He'll be a cult hero forever.
Put 50 quid on that, mate. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-1. I'm
1-1.
trying to be optimistic there. I'm going to go 1-1. There's so much attacking talent in that Manchester United team. They are so incredibly top heavy. And our defence has been very good, but I think, I'm going to go 1-1. Ollie Watkins with a goal.
They are in Europe as well on Thursday, whatever team they pick. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know what they're like when they're coming back from Europa League duty, but hopefully
playing against Jose Mourinho as well.
Well, yeah, definitely, yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Justin,
I'm going for a repeat of "You'll Never Win Anything with Kids." 3-1 to Villa.
Buzzing. So I just want to say thanks, Dan, for coming on. You're a legend. We love your channel. So check out Heart of the Holte. I'm sure most of you already do anyway. But they're doing some great stuff. And their previews for the games, their 5 minutes on how to beat the opposition are like legendary. Do you know what I mean? Their insight to the game is just phenomenal. So thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having us on, boys. Keep up the good work. And hopefully I'll be back soon.
Definitely. Thanks for watching. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.